Hi. My live stream wasn't working for a minute there, so hopefully it's working. It looks like it might be a little jumpy. I don't know. But good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing okay. Um, let's see. If you're out there and you're getting this, if there's a way you can let me know, that would be great. Like, say hi in the chat or give a thumbs up or something. That would be really great. I see Jessica said hi. Hi, Jessica. Um, Joanne, hi. Alice, yay. Jamie, awesome. Good morning. Cool. Glad to see all of you here. Hi, Lisa. So we're going to just jump right into it. We're going to be painting today a figure, a form, a person in their environment, as opposed to like a traditional standard portrait with just a blank background. I'd like you to try to incorporate details of clothing, perhaps, or just details in the room to describe the person and who they are as a person. Maybe even to describe the period in time that they are there. I refer to the paintings of Alice Neel because she painted so many people, and they would a lot of times come to her apartment and sit for her. She painted a lot of people in her neighborhood. She painted all types of people, rich people, poor people, all races. And she just had a very lovely way of connecting with her sitters as well. I wish we could have a live person here. If that's possible for you to like grab your spouse or someone, please do. That would be really fun. But I put some links to Alice Neel in the description notes. And let's see. I don't have any pulled up, but if you just type Alice Neel, Neel, into your Google image search, you will see all of her amazing paintings. So I've already started sketching, I have to admit. Good morning, Paulette. I've already started sketching my painting, and I'm gonna once again kind of tilt this down here. I'm gonna work a little bit larger today, and we're gonna take the whole session to just work on one painting, and most likely you'll want to continue working as you're going, after this. So I have a bigger canvas here. I started sketching out my photograph. Okay. Did this really happen? I am at a loss. Can't find my photograph right in this moment. Okay. Well, I'm going to need to look for it. Okay. All right, so I have my photo, and you all remember this probably. I did this last time also. So I did some studies of this, and now I went a little bit bigger. And I just free-handed this sketch. I'm probably going to move away from the sketch, and kind of figure things out as I go. So for me, also what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a full range of colors. My white, a couple of yellows, a couple reds, a couple of blues, purples, browns. I'm just going to use them all and have them available to me. So I'm going to have to do that now. But I hope you all have a photo to work from. Preferably like a picture of someone you really like, someone who's very endearing to you. That usually helps. And if you can't find anything, maybe one of your neighbors, maybe someone in the chat has some links that they can share. Okay. The only color I'm missing is my burnt sienna. I would love that. Let's see here. Green. So if you haven't already sketched out your like just a light sketch of what it is you're going to paint, go ahead and do that. I'm probably going to work on this just a little bit more, but sometimes it takes a minute to like situate your, you know, your outline here, your composition. You know, I'm working from this photo and I'm working with a square canvas and this photo is rectangular. So things like that, sometimes you have to work out issues like that when you're, you know, interpreting this image onto a canvas. The ideal thing is like if you have a slide projector or something and you can like project it, or like some kind of a projector and you can cast the image onto a canvas and outline it. That's always really fun, but you know, we don't all have that technology. But it's a nice challenge to try to get something like this a little bit bigger. Now, some people will do the whole like fold the paper, fold the image, like do a grid, and then transfer it, do a grid here and a grid here. I think that that's a really effective method if you have the patience for it. And I never have the patience for it. It's my problem. So I like to just start drawing. And you see, like, this is a pretty gestural, very loose drawing, similar to what we did a couple days ago. And once again, looking for materials, supplies, things are floating all around my studio. And I can't find them. I'm going to go ahead and use a marker, I think, just for fun. Hey, Connie. So I'm wondering if people had a chance to do any more gestural figure studies after the last session that we did. Um, I know it's been a very intense couple of days since the last time we all hung out. And I know for myself, it's been really hard to concentrate. So if you weren't able to focus, I don't blame you. Okay. But if you were, send me your pictures. I'd love to see what you did. So I want to include, like for me personally, I want to include all the details of this space that he's sitting in. And I also chose this picture because it's the room that's right out there in my house. So if I have to ever refer to it, I can. But I love like all these little details in the background, the plant. I mean, not just for the sake of the composition do I think that they're interesting, but also just what they tell me about this person. I always think the more spontaneous, the less like controlled the environment is. It's kind of nice too. Like the less set up it is. So patterns are like a huge thing. I love when there's some kind of pattern that I can put into the picture. Some kind of like manufactured seam or a button, something like that. I love those little descriptions. Again, because compositionally it's interesting when you have all those patterns, but also just, yeah, it tells me a little bit more about the person that's sitting there. So just like a very loose outline here. So I think what I'll do to start is once again take some blue and red ultramarine. I'm using ultramarine for this, and some water. And I'm just going to now start painting in this basic composition and start putting in the different lights and the different darks. But again, I'm not going as dark as I need to yet, but just plugging it all in. Another thing that Alice Neel does in her paintings, you might notice when you look at them, is she leaves a lot of the surrounding elements. Often she leaves them unresolved. She doesn't use as much detail with them. She simplifies them a little bit more and puts the detail in the face or the hands, or like the clothing, like things that are closer to the viewer. So she's selective about those choices. And I really like that. Like, not everything in your painting needs to be 100% developed with all the detail. I mean, that can be a cool effect too. I'm not saying don't do that, but you might also choose to edit and leave some things a little bit looser in your final painting. So if you are working at an easel and you have these long brushes, technically what you're supposed to do is hold them like this and kind of push your easel away and work like this a little bit more. And it's a little awkward sometimes, but I don't know, it's an interesting feeling. So if that's you, if you're doing this, try working this way. Just because sometimes like we get so close up and, you know, trying to get all the details and stuff right away, holding the brush further back sometimes helps to keep it a little bit fresher. Switch to a bigger brush. And if this is uncomfortable to jump right into the paint and you want to do more work on the drawing, nothing wrong with that. Kind of interesting because I actually don't work a lot from photographs anymore. I do prefer to work from life more lately. So it's kind of a new thing or unfamiliar. So I will tilt this here so you can see a little bit better what's going on here. It helps me to see this in the camera because I can start to see, like, issues. Okay. I mean, in this really weird way, I would love to do more portraits because I feel like it really builds empathy. Will sit for me and paint them in my studio. I think that would be great. Maybe soon. Or we can do some masked portraits if people are interested. But I know Alice Neel said it, and Elaine de Kooning also. She did a lot of portraits for people and spent a lot of time with them. And she also expresses how painting another person, you just start, to feel more empathy for them. So since this dog that I'm doing here, you can see it has this white fur. What I'm going to do is paint down some dark first and then put those lighter values for his fur on top of it. I'm going to do that for the whole dog. So I'm curious if there's anyone out there that works with oils ever. Because sometimes what I like to do is start a painting in acrylics and then use oil over it. The only thing is that you just want to make sure your acrylics are dried completely. Like I would want to, if I was going to work with oils at this point, I would wait for this to dry at least 24 hours before I started doing oil on top of it. So I'm going to take some liberties here and put the couch. I think I'm going to. With bigger canvas like this, bigger brushes are also good. There is a little coffee table here in the foreground of the painting, and I can't see in the photograph, but I'm going to take artistic license to just add those in, like maybe the remote control or something. Starting to put in some of that pattern from the rug. For the wall, which is basically white, but what I'm going to do is I'm mixing kind of a yellow-green neutrally color, and I'm going to go ahead and just put that in, and I'm going to paint the lighter value over the top of that. This is going to be like just the underlayer that holds that lighter value once I get around to it. Or sometimes what I really like to do, where are you, Chuck? One moment. Sometimes I really like to use like the gray, like the charcoal, to create an interesting gray. Or just to go back into the painting. Kind of a fun, expressive tool, but in this case, what I'll do, come back to my yellow, green color, and I'm just gonna like blend that a little, because I just like that kind of dark grayish color. That I can get from the charcoal. And then when that dries, I'll paint on top of it. In one layer. There's several layers that I build up on. Okay, let's see. Got this big artwork here. I think we'll just go kind of gray with that too. With the pillow, I'll just block in. Oops. Right. So yeah, generally if I'm painting a person in their environment, I'm building up the environment as I'm painting them. As opposed to, often people will work on the form and just the form very diligently, and then they'll paint in the backdrop. I like to kind of build up both of them simultaneously. But then I usually start going back in with more detail into the form. soon. Um, and you know, it's and start to really like refine things. You know, obviously like do more here with the dog. So that's what I'm gonna do with the next 10 minutes. So usually what I do is like, I'll go ahead and mix up a dark value for myself. Again, like my alizarin crimson and purple and brown maybe. And now I'm going to just come in and start to do like shadows that I'm seeing. Alice Neel does a lot of outlining of forms, even though everyone seems to think that's something you shouldn't do. It's a good way to get your form to pop out. But I think like be selective with it or play around with it. It's up to you. Love getting like little seams in there. Got my shoe a little. And if a section of the painting is frustrating you, just move away from it and go somewhere else in the painting. I mean, it's weird to think about, but like this corner is actually a big section of the painting, which is why I am paying a little more attention to it. Loki and Jason. That's so cute. Hi, Brittany. Yay. Jason said I would feel better watching this, and I do. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, for about 30 minutes there, I kind of forgot. All right. So this is usually the Loki looks a lot different now. Alice, thank you yet again. What a great calmer in a way. Good. It's got such a short nose. Well, I hope everyone's making some interesting paintings. I look forward to seeing them. If you work on them over the weekend and want to share them with me, please do. I'd love to see what you come up with. I have to keep working on him. Okay, I need to end this, but hopefully I'll finish this painting, and I'll post it on my blog if I do, and I really would love to see all of your paintings. Maybe if I don't get around to it, I'll continue working on it. But I hope everyone's doing well, hanging in there, and thank you for watching today, and I will see you in a few days. Thanks, everyone. And send your images, please, to ursulagullow@gmail.com. All right. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. How do I get out of here? Okay. Bye.